You knew him, didn't you? Then you had that one little feeling. But you waved it away. You should have listened to that one little feeling. Just like I'm listening to you now. You can talk to me. I'm all a friend you got.
Well, getting things in 2021 off to a great start movie-wise is a new film called The Little Things, and it only took about 30 years to bring to the screen. It comes from director, writer, and producer John Lee Hancock, who has been fascinated with true stories for most of his directorial career, from The Blind Side, Saving Mr. Banks, The Founder, Highwaymen. Here, though, he is going into a fictional area entirely. But interestingly enough, he wrote this screenplay well before he even directed any of those other films. This was actually written in the early 90s, kind of around the time of Silence of the Lambs, that sort of thing, that was out then. And it is a detective story, but one very different, in the search for a serial killer on the loose in Los Angeles.
You're not exactly a department favorite.
Things probably changed a lot since you left.
You still got to catch him, right?
Yeah.
Not that much has changed then, right?
This movie, actually, 30 years later, set in that time, though, is now a period movie in the 90s. Technology is back what it was then, because it's certainly changed since he wrote this script. But boy, I think the timing is right for it now, and however it finally got made through the tenacity of these filmmakers, it is well worth seeing. This movie is sensational, I will say, in this genre. And maybe that's also partially due to a cast that Hancock and his producer Mark Johnson were able to put together here that include Denzel Washington in one of his best turns. He is just born to play this role. You feel like he's lived in this character and makes it so authentic. Joe Deacon, also known as Deke, he plays a Kern City deputy sheriff who's called into Los Angeles basically to gather some information for a case there, but he winds up staying much longer than he thought, and things in his own background start to play in the plot here as well and start to threaten the case that is going on, run by Rami Malek's character. He is a LA Sheriff Department sergeant named Jim Baxter, and he too is complicated and complex, but he feels that Deke here could come in and help him solve this case, or help him on this case on the trail of this serial killer, causing all sorts of problems in the area there. That suspect, that number one suspect that they go around here, is Albert Sparma. He is played magnificently by Jared Leto, who just dives into this role but does not play it in any kind of predictable manner. This is a three-dimensional character, a fascinating guy who is playing cat and mouse with these guys. And a part of the fun of this movie is watching those interactions between all three of these characters. These guys are as good as it gets in these roles, and they really live in them and make them authentic. There are scenes here that are just riveting to watch. It takes real talent, really great writing, and really great actors, and it's beautifully shot all the way through here.
He knew all the details, but he wasn't within 10 miles of the killing.
Why is that? Why is that?
A real cat and mouse game. I mentioned Silence of the Lambs earlier in this review, and I think this stands up to that level of quality of that big former Best Picture winner. This one had me on the edge of my seat all along, but watching what it's really about in solving a case, in working a case, in dealing with anything like this, are the little things you add along the way. And I don't want to reveal too much about where it goes, because that's the fun of watching it. But it's the little things that John Lee Hancock add to this film that also make it work as well as it does in a well-worn genre, of which this is the newest member and one of the best, in my opinion. I highly recommend The Little Things, and I would urge you to see it any which way you can. It's coming from Warner Brothers, will be day and date for the first month of its run on HBO Max. See The Little Things. I say, watch.